Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Thursday Yonko back here with another video. And I know I haven't uploaded in a minute, and y'all like, bro, you just uploaded 3 good videos and you just disappeared. Like, that's kind of my thing, like, unfortunately, right? I want to say this real quick before I get into the video. There was a comment on somebody talking about how I just put, a thumbnail on here. Like, it could just be a created thumbnail by myself, or it could be from Google Pictures, something like that. What y'all gotta understand is that I have 407 subs. I do not have this big platform where it makes sense for me to do big production videos, because I tried doing that with my Kyrie video and it did not perform well. So can you imagine me being a smaller creator putting all his time into making 1 video or 2 videos, right, over a span of a month or weeks, and I put them out and nobody watches them because my channel is not big enough to guarantee those videos doing some level of success. And that's what y'all have to understand. Every channel builds themselves up, and I say my channel is a little bit more unique because I'm a younger YouTuber that has the style of content, like with just the thumbnail. It's not really meant to be for people who only like to look at the visuals, because that's for the casuals, right? If you need to just focus on something and hone in on that, dude, it doesn't change the subject matter that I'm talking about. This is for the people who's driving in the car who want to listen to something. This is for the people who's in the gym working out who don't mind listening to something because they're there for the message. They see the thumbnail, they see the title, and they just want to hear the subject matter of the video. They want to hear what's going on, what is my opinion on that subject. So this is for the people who actually care about the topic. This is not for the people who need to look at visuals all the time, who need to be entertained while being entertained. This is not for the people with short attention spans. This is strictly for the people who want the truth. This is a pro-truth channel. This is for the people who want the real, and that's what I give. So yeah, on to the video. Mike Brown. Mike Brown, bullet head Mike Brown. Listen, man, I understand that a lot of coaches never deserve to be a head coach. Billy Donovan, Steve Nash, and some coaches have been given too many chances, Budenholzer, Doc Rivers. But listen, when you turn the entire franchise around from being mediocre, being completely mediocre for years, since I was in probably not even middle school. We're not even talking middle school. Like, I'm 28. So, like, I don't understand how you could, after like 3 years of quote unquote success, right, making it to the playoffs, actually performing well in the regular season, drafting great, man, trading for Domantas Sabonis, and you're telling me you look at Mike Brown and you say that, oh, we got to give up on him, right? They're saying that they didn't want to do that, but that's what they did. They just follow the straight traditional route of just, we're going to go ahead and chop the coach's head off. And who is even going to replace him? Is there any? Because we have Jordi Fernandez. So, it didn't even make sense. Like, if y'all were going to fire him, like, either way, we was going to get Jordi. But all I'm saying is this. It doesn't make sense. And I was going to make a video on the Sacramento Kings and talk about them this season, but I held off. And I'm glad that I held off, because I didn't think that he was going to get fired. In my opinion, Kings fans, I know we have a good relationship, but I need y'all to bear with me, all right? As much praise as I give the Sacramento Kings for being entertaining, especially versus the Golden State Warriors, like, very fun team, like the beam. I've been on your side the whole way. I want y'all to be a good team. But what I started to realize just from this season alone, and late last season, the reason why the Sacramento Kings have been quote unquote successful is because the West was on the weaker side of its era. And the West, even though it's the more competitive conference, you didn't have Kyrie over there in the West. You know, KD was just coming over. The Rockets weren't up yet. You know, the Spurs didn't have Wemby. The Memphis Grizzlies was injured last season. You know, the Golden State Warriors were getting old and, you know, back and forth. They were trying to sustain themselves, right? You had the Lakers constantly injured. Like, I'm not saying that the Kings are not a good team, but what I'm saying is this. I think that there is a clear reason as to why the Kings are performing worse. Roster's construction, of course, but still, I think that the West just wasn't as strong and competitive as it is now. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think that the Kings are a terrible team. I think if they were in the Eastern Conference, clearly they would be a playoff team, play-in team. But I think that the franchise kind of overreacted to what was going on instead of thinking that, yeah, we need to go ahead and get better. Like listen, the Minnesota Timberwolves, after they made the Randall trade, right? These guys are the 10th seed. Like, they were very competitive last year. You know? They were up there with OKC. They're up there with them, like, literally the best teams in the West. They were one of the best teams. They were the best defensive team in the NBA. And now they're the 10th seed. It's crazy how one trade can change everything, right? But also, you didn't have the Spurs, right? The Clippers, despite Kawhi Leonard being hurt, have been great this season. You know, that's Ty Lue. That's James Harden. And even the Phoenix Suns have fallen off. This is not just a Sacramento Kings thing. This is a Western Conference thing. So the fact that a coach like him, he's been great. Now, I'm not going to say he's been perfect, but he's been damn better than a lot of coaches, Billy Donovan, that have maintained their job. That's the reason why a lot of people were up in arms, because it didn't make sense, because we knew where the Kings were at. Kings fans, you could tell me. Y'all know I have a good relationship with y'all. Like, I have nothing bad to say about Kings fans. I have nothing bad to say about your stars. I know y'all roster. Y'all took care of Kessler Edwards. Like, I have no problem. But my thing is this. What was this going to fix? And just because y'all beat a couple of injured teams, you know, that doesn't mean that you guys are back because y'all fired Mike Brown. No. We got to really get down to the bottom of this. What sense was this going to make? What trades are you guys going to make? You guys are not a Cam Johnson away from competing. And as a matter of fact, what is the goal? Are y'all competing for a championship? Of course y'all are. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, great players that got snubbed last year from the All-Star game, undeservingly. But are you guys really one piece away? Do you guys really have the... Like, listen, bro. Y'all don't have a top 5 talent. Y'all don't have a Nikola Jokic, a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Y'all don't have those players. Y'all don't have a Luka Doncic, even though, you know, he's not a superstar to me yet. But y'all don't have one of those type of players. Like, y'all don't have a SGA, even though I think De'Aaron Fox is great. You know? Y'all don't even have a team as good as OKC. Like, what are we doing here? Like, y'all don't have that top-end talent that could thrust you into being a true contender, because, yes, y'all want to compete for championships, but to throw the coach underneath the bus that made you guys come back to prominence to begin with. And even so, once again, teams like the Rockets weren't there yet. They weren't there yet. You feel me? They're the second in the Western Conference now. You feel me? That's a big difference. Teams like Memphis was hurt and going through BS and all this stuff, right, last year. Right? You had the Lakers. They were constantly in the play-in because they were injured and all kinds of stuff. You know, Dallas has relatively stayed, you know, relevant, so we can't really count them. The Clippers, they're overachieving this year, right? But you had Kawhi Leonard hurt. You had Paul George hurt. The Clippers were just going through a lot, right? But they're in that spot. The Golden State Warriors, they've been around the play-in picture for the last couple of years, overachieving, trying to stay relevant. And then you have the Spurs. The Spurs came out of nowhere. We did not expect Wemby to be this good. I did. But I'm just saying we. Like, right? Wemby being this good in year 2 has thrust them, like, into playoff contention. You cannot blame that on a coach. That's a generational talent. Like, that's a generational talent. And you have the Timberwolves, even though they have taken a far step back, they're still good enough to be in the play-in. And then, boom, now the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings are kicked out. We can't sit up here and blame a coach because the West has gotten better. That's what happened. The Kings didn't necessarily get worse, even though DeMar DeRozan really wasn't that great of an addition anyway. I don't know how they thought that was going to work. But listen, it's not that the Kings are terrible. It's just that the West got so much better. Sure, you're losing games that you should win. Right. But I don't think that there is any coach or any one piece that the Sacramento Kings can get now. Unless you are getting someone like a Giannis. You feel me? Then maybe we could talk. But it's like, you guys are not one role player away from competing for a championship. You are not a coach away from competing for a championship or being back into deep playoff contention. You're not there yet. The West is too deep. It's too much fucking talent. And you can't blame Mike Brown for that. He didn't deserve to lose his job. I'm not like the rest of these YouTubers that's going to cap for Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers. No, they don't deserve to be head coaches. But Mike Brown, he deserved to be a head coach. He's a good coach. Now, is he a championship level coach? Probably not. But does the Sacramento Kings have a championship level roster? Yes or no? The answer is no. Do they have championship level talent? Probably not. Probably not. We just got to accept the fact that when other teams get good, you know, some teams fall back. And it's up to you, yes, as a GM, to make the adjustments to try to compete with that, right? But if you're just being out-talented, like you can't make up for that. Who can you trade for? You feel me? Unless Giannis becomes available and you guys have the assets, of course. That's the only thing you can hope for. That's the only thing you can hope for. Yes, Ty Lue is a better coach than Mike Brown. That's the reason why the Clippers are overachieving. You feel me? And the Clippers still have a solid roster. They have James Harden, too. Norman Powell stepped up. Always been good. You feel me? But that's my thing, bro. You cannot just completely start blowing stuff up. And now people are talking about, you know, the Kings blowing it up. It don't really make sense because De'Aaron Fox is still young. Like, it don't make sense. You already got a quote-unquote guy, right? So blowing it up and going back to mediocrity, there was no point in firing Mike Brown. If De'Aaron Fox requests a trade, if he requests a trade and y'all end up having to trade him, you would have fired Mike Brown for no reason because clearly y'all losing was not the goal, right? So if you have to trade De'Aaron Fox and he requests his way out, you guys are definitely going to still be losing. So you would have fired the man for no reason. At least he's still getting paid. But you would have fired him for no reason. Then you got to trade Sabonis. Then you got to go ahead and blow the whole damn thing up. And I don't even know if y'all have y'all 2025 pick? If y'all do, then we'll see. If y'all have y'all 2026 pick, then maybe. But you're probably not going to get another De'Aaron Fox. That's all I'm going to say. You're not going to get another De'Aaron Fox. Probably not. So it's like you would essentially be blowing everything up because if you guys, like, what is the goal here? Are we just trying to get back to the playoffs? Is that what we're doing? Like, because I'm not understanding what was the thought process on all of this? What was this going to resolve? But that's what happens when you panic. When you panic, when you start seeing the team lose and, you know, instead of looking at the landscape of the NBA, all you can do is just look at what's wrong with your team and look at your team is not doing this. Your team is not doing that. And Kings fans, educate me. I've watched a good bit of y'all games this season, but you can educate me. You can let me know that I'm tripping or if I'm wrong. Y'all guys let me know whether if I'm tripping or I'm not seeing the bigger picture on what's the plan for this organization. Because if you guys if De'Aaron Fox requested a trade and y'all had to trade him, all this shit would have looked stupid. Plain and simple. It would have looked completely stupid because that means y'all have to trade Sabonis. Like, it's like, then y'all have to trade, y'all have to pretty much empty the clip and trade everybody else, right? And unless y'all get assets and y'all draft somebody else, you know, maybe a generational talent, right? But then you have to still build that team back up. And who's to say that Wemby won't be taking over the league? Who's to say that the Rockets won't have De'Aaron Fox at that point? So they'll be a contender, even though they're, the second seed? They'll be a contender still. The Rockets are actually doing pretty darn good. You feel me? So all I'm saying is that I don't understand why they fired Mike Brown. You know, I wish he would have kept his job because I felt like he brought the Kings back to relevancy. And Kings fans, let me know. Am I just talking out my behind, or am I not seeing the bigger picture? Was there something to be gained by firing him? Let me know. You know, I'm not scared of criticism. I have a good relationship with y'all fan base. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, so, you know, we in mediocrity, but it's for a purpose. So, yeah, man, that's all I gotta say. Peace.